We're on. This is Civil Discourse now. I'm Mark Small, December 11th, 2024. Our guest is Ingrid Baptista in New York. Ingrid, again, hello.
Hi.
We were off camera, and then we got into a conversation and we're going through horrendous things in this country right now.
Yes, we are. Very much.
It's fascinating to talk about our structure of government and to talk about what is in the Constitution and what is being argued and discussed right now. And it's fascinating. This is a product of well, it was ratified in 1789 originally, but when we're talking about especially the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, those are sections of the Constitution adopted by the amendment process that in the Colorado case, they note that was a radical change in the philosophy of government because it gave greater power to the national government, and also they wanted to make sure that people have the same rights protected no matter what state they're in. And so it was a sea change in how government was set up. Now, when we have people who contend right now, and I'm one, and you are, I don't believe that Trump should be allowed in office because that amendment disqualifies him. And there's no mention of a hearing being held. And I'm kind of making statements. Jump in when you want to, but I'm just trying to think.
Listen, I like to say that an amendment, it's a very long one, and it's in layman's terms, and it covers just about everybody in government, including the military. And it's pretty much just saying that if you are against the government, come on, guys, against the government, it's not a situation where you have a bad government that now we are exercising our First Amendment rights to protest against something that our government is doing bad. This is an amendment in our Constitution that is saying that if we have someone that are, I like to use the word bad actors, but bad actors that are going against our Constitution, okay?
And the exact phrase is, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or given aid or comfort to the enemies of the United States, and that embraces crime of treason.
Yes, it does. And when you look at it like that, you go, okay, we have a situation here. Not only do we have someone that dishonored, is not loyal to the Constitution, we also have someone that's also a convicted felon. People go, well, there's nothing in the Constitution that says that. Think about it. Do we really need to put in the Constitution? Oh, we're not supposed to have felons in the government. That a convicted felon, that should be common sense. Certain things don't have to be written. It's the same way when they go, oh, the only thing about a president, he has to be 35, and he has to be naturally born, and
also
they go,
hasn't and tried to overthrow the government.
Yes, but what it says is when they put it like that, they make it see that said that's the minimum, that's the bare minimum of what is expected. But that doesn't mean that twice impeached gets okay, a convicted felon gets okay, a sexual assaulter gets okay. It's almost like we become so numb to think that this is okay, but then yet it tells us in the Constitution in impeachment about high crimes and misdemeanors. You go, okay, so if we go by just that language in that section of impeachment of high crimes and misdemeanors, don't you think what he did here also classifies as high class, high crime misdemeanor? Why would you want to put somebody in office that is is basically committing an impeachable offense?
Well,
Okay. And then when
but
you get the Supreme Court, wait a minute, when you get the Supreme Court says
sure.
immunity, I'm then arguing, how could you say that? Now you're undermining the impeachment situation when you are giving this person um this grandeur immunity that it's up to him to say why he did these things, and if he could have an argument justifiable as to why he did these things, he's going to be able to slide on it, which means you cannot impeach him. So again, it's like taking the Constitution and turning it upside down, and that's why they could talk about Project 25. You turn the Constitution upside it down, then you could bring in whatever other stuff you want to bring in, and then we no longer have that Constitution that's supposed to protect us. And
And
that's
that's
what's going to get.
and that's something that I've been trying to. I've blogged the last few days saying it's not Project 2025, and that's a whole different topic, but we both mentioned it. That is an alternative view of the government compared to the Constitution. And you don't get to change the government in that fashion and qualitatively and to that extent without going through the amendment process described in Article 5 of the Constitution. And and they've been trying to say, well, Trump had this mandate with a landslide. Wasn't a landslide. And there are legitimate concerns being raised that it was hacked by Putin. I mean, he did the last, in 2016, he helped Trump get in. And it's even more blatant. I haven't seen anyone refer in any kind of major news release way, the fact that Putin had released, I mean, these are old, it would seem, but just kind of a thing to stick it in Trump's eye to show that who's really boss, had photographs of Melania Trump in the nude published over in Russia. It's like, I mean, I own you. And nobody was indignant over that. Nobody heard it here. They stay blissfully ignorant of that. So
I normally I personally stay away from the sort of tabloid kind of news, because that, when it comes to politics, I like to stick to politics. If you want to talk to, like whatever Melania photos, whatever, that I could care less about that. I am more concerned that you're right. When the hush money trial in New York, it proved that Putin was involved in 2016. 2016 was manipulated. Okay. We know what happened in 2020. And I always tell people, let's go back 4 years. Let's pretend we're in 2020. Let's think about this time around 2020, what was happening in America besides COVID. Okay. We had a situation where we had a president that lost the election, that will not give the incoming president-elect a transition. That's number one. Number two, he was busy trying to dismantle the DOJ. Okay, that is huge. At the same time, all these cases, 60 plus cases, trying to overturn the election. Next thing, he had the Mike Johnson was the architect behind the Secretary of States that wanted to uncertify Joe Biden as well. So you had all these things going on. Guess what? These were all legal maneuvers, if were true, okay, was a way to dispute the election. Now it's our turn. Now it comes 2024. We are to accept the results, even though things kind of look kind of weird. Okay. I don't have proof, but it looks kind of weird. The fact that he manipulated 2016, he tried to steal 2020. I cannot honestly just accept 24 unless I have now proof that we did it the right way. Because if it wasn't for those career, faithful loyalists that basically spoke the truth of what he was doing, is why we know that he was trying to steal 2020. Because had he gotten away with it, we wouldn't have known that either. He could have gotten, the fact that he could call Georgia to ask for that many votes should put it in our minds that there is even a possibility that something like that could fly, that somebody could actually find close to 12,000 votes to make him win Georgia. Okay. And then for him to then have those 7 fake electors to be ready to change them while the chaos was going on in DC goes to show you the lengths that he will go. So to think that 2024, while all along every year for the past 4 years, he's been saying it's rigged, that the Democrats are trying to steal it, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden he wins the entire pot. Something is not, it doesn't sit right. And I think as a citizen, I do believe I own the right to question whether that was legit, because we know that he has done things in the past to steal it from us. And that's the argument. And then to know, I don't even want to get involved down about whether the election was legit or not, especially when we still have the 14th Amendment that basically disqualifies it altogether.
In addition to that, I'd say that we also have the fact that he has said he wants a dictatorship, and that
Yes.
is,
and he wants to terminate the Constitution. And
I'm sorry?
And that he wants to terminate the Constitution.
Oh yeah, and so to me that means we have those as alternate grounds where we don't have to look at counting ballots.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of those ballots, if what we're looking at is suspending the results of the 2024 election, as we should, because Trump is an emergency, then everything's fair game, because otherwise he'll make it such. Ingrid, thank you very much for being a guest. Let's talk beginning of next week, shall we?
Yes,
Again, see where everything is and map it out and tell folks what's going on.
Yes, let's do that.
Thanks very much. And everyone that's listening, thank you very much. Civil Discourse Now.